Let's keep it going. I want to shout out my community. We built it. It's Frankenstein. Accountability on steroids. When the people say it, right? I've always been one to be active whenever I've been a part of other communities. The most active, so much so that people want me to be quiet. But it's a community. You're supposed to be active. So from the beginning of me learning how to trade, I've always been a voice in the communities. Not because I knew I was to do that, but over time I found out, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I can't expect anyone else to do it, something that I'm not doing. So I've always been vocal. I've been kicked out of dozens of groups and communities because I talk my shit. And I'm not going to stop because I'm the best. I tell people this and, oh, that's your opinion. Yeah, it is my opinion, I guess. But through this channel, because I keep saying page, the channel, right, I'm just going to keep it going. And the people will decide who's the best and who's the fraud, who's the marketing scheme guru and the pyramid scheme gurus, and then the best in the world. Trading and investing, right? So shout out to my community. 'Cause I say my community within my specific group of people. International. Let's see, what else can we... We're patting ourselves on the back because you have to do that a lot of the time, right? People just don't get it. 98% of people who go into the trading environment lose. We call them the losers, the 98%. You have to have a 2% mentality. You have to stop doing that and come over here and do this, right? I try to keep this as short as I can. Now that it's for YouTube, I can probably do it longer, right? Just like the earlier video. But this is a continuation of the quarters theory, right? But I just wanted to shout the group out because we're special. And we want to add more, right? But you need to be active. I don't like kicking people out of groups. So we have the best of the best here at this point. And it's going to be that way, and it's going to grow, right? Because you have to win. We don't do the kumbaya parties. We don't do loss review over here, right? We're winning, right? So we're going to get to it, to the continuation, right? We're talking about quarters theory. And we talked about the Dixie, the dollar index, right? If it has a price, it will respect the scale, the basic scale of 100. This all came from quarters theory. The concept that I developed is because of me reading the book of quarters theory and understanding that 4 quarters makes $1. So they didn't create the basic scale of 100. They helped me find it, right? So I'm documenting that I developed the concept. So we're going to get this going, right? Because usually I like to get done in 4 minutes and 44 seconds, but I can go a little further here, right? So what we're going to do, the Dixie, right? And start noticing the prices that the asset fits into. Because there's, like I said, you can use 100, right? Is the way you build the scale so you can understand how it works. 4 quarters makes $1. You can say that in football. There's 4 quarters. There's halftime. You can say I'm starting my task at this time and I'm at lunchtime as a halfway point. And then when you're done with work, that's 100%. Trading is life and life is trading. What you do in your life, you will do in your trading. What you do in your trading, you'll do in your life. It works in all aspects. This is how God works, right? That's what I'm presenting you. And of course, people who are fraudulent will take it and do nefarious things with it. And that's not what I'm with. I'm not about that. But of course, These are the YouTube streets, right? So I get that. But we're going to get to the business. Knowing your asset, and then applying the scale to it. The DXY, it has a value of 100. So there you go. That's the greatest example you can use for just 100. Then we get to the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield is in percentage points, but it still applies. We're going from 0% to 10%, right? Instead of 100, we take off the 0, and now we're dealing with 10. Then you go down to where you have 11 will be the premium of 10. Then 9 will be the discount of 10. And then 8 or 8.75%, 7.75%, and 6.5%. And then you get down to 5%, and then you have 6% as the premium, 5%, 4% as the discount. Then 3.5% premium, 25%, or 2.5%, and then 1.5% is the discount. Now we'll go to the VIX. You see the VIX is the basic scale of 100, the normal 100, right? You have 25, 50, 75, and 100. Then we go down to crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. What are these things? They're commodities. The reason why I'm showing you commodities is because they have futures contracts. I talk about being chronological with my messages so that if you go to the very first video, it'll walk you through chronologically as to how I'm explaining and presenting you information. The messages go together is what I'm saying, and they're timeless. That's why my page is going to go viral. I'm not here for that, but somebody needs to tell you the truth for once. In trading and investing, somebody needs to give you the truth. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the truth. So we go down to metals, gold and silver. We can go to oil. We can go to natural gas. We can go to currencies. In this case, we're using the Japan yen because of the Japan carry trade, right? The Japanese 10-year yield is spiking and is causing the Japanese yen to go down. They're perfectly inverted. So that's how I caught my buy position on the Japanese yen, because the interest rate is spiking up while the price is going down. Now we can go to stocks. We can go to Oracle. There you go, from 0 to 1,000. So we're not using 100 in this case, we're using 1,000, and you see how the scale sits from 0 to 1,000. Not too long of a message, right? Straight to the point, as I always do. I've been in the game since 2019, and I said, I'm here to make $1 million. And with that million, I'm going to make $1 billion. And with the billion, I'm going to make $1 trillion. And with the trillion, I'm going to make infinillion. Now, it's not about what I make. As long as I do it correctly, then the bag will come. Anybody that I've met in this game is as dumb as they are or were. They just could not understand the concept that I'm here to smash everything, right? Any broker, we haven't got to the brokers yet because you need to have a trading capability, right? So you need a broker to do that. So we got to go through the steps to explain how we do our analysis, because we're 12 steps ahead of the game. It's not just me. I have a team around me. I tried to enhance that team and add more people, but they're frauds. So they couldn't handle my truth. So now I get to expose this in the best way I know how, straight from the hand of God, and just broadcast it and allow people to win for a change, because loss review sucks. I don't be in loss review. Anybody that's been around me long enough will tell you that it's Smurf Village over here. We about that life. I don't know what they doing, but over here, we're getting to the business for the people, not the profits. Hey.